Hey guys, it's Tony here. In March of 2024, I made the big decision of moving my whole life over to London from Sydney, Australia. And in making that choice, I also knew that the cost of living here is definitely not cheap. This video will serve as a guide based on my experience so far to get a better idea of what's possible without digging into your savings too much and to help you manage that money with some tips I use. You might be thinking, why would I even move here to start with? Well, I wanted to experience a life in a different city, meet new people, and have the chance to explore Europe with more ease like many others who move here. London was also the only real possible location in my line of profession as a healthcare worker as well. I came into this choice knowing that the currency conversion with the Australian dollar is pretty appalling, and understanding that living in London will make it difficult to save any money unless if you earn bank or don't travel, which is not really an option for me. So in the next part, I'm just going to be covering the main expenses that I have for the month. And just a disclaimer, these prices are based on my situation in 2024 at the moment and my hobbies as someone who doesn't eat out a lot and go out clubbing every weekend, but does like to travel. So take these prices as a rough idea. First is rental prices. Finding a rental in London is definitely a challenge. If you're finding a place for yourself, especially if you don't have a solid employment contract already, it will make it quite difficult because they require reference checks. Likely chances are you're going to possibly pay upfront of 6 to even 12 months of rental payments, depending on how mean your landlord wants to be, which is definitely not fun, but you may need to factor that possibility in. If you're looking for an already established household, you have two options when you look on house share sites like Spare Room or roomies.co.uk, either to sublet off someone already existing on a contract or to sign on a contract yourself. Signing your name onto any contract, once again, may require you to pay upfront payments due to not having a proper job or reference checks. In my scavenge around London for places, as well as what other friends have told me they are paying, if you're looking at anywhere in zone 1 to 3, which you would be if you want to be living in a place like this, as moving further away in zones 4 onwards takes longer and costs more to get into the city. Most places around zone 1 to 3 averaged around £800 to £1,200 per month per person, which may or may not include bills and is usually shared between 2 to 4 people. Bills are usually around £100 to £200 a month per person, depending on how many people you are splitting with. My current situation here is that I'm living in a big 3-bedroom apartment in Canary Wharf with only one other person, which is fantastic. And I'm only paying £835 per month considering my circumstances for rent. The bill breakdown for the whole apartment for both of us is $117 for council tax, gas and electricity is $80, which can go higher in winter, water is $60, internet is $40, and the TV license is £13. So roughly around £155 each. For groceries, they are definitely more reasonable here, with prices often being slightly cheaper than what you get in Australia. I am someone who often just prepares overnight oats and meal preps lunch and most dinners during the week, and then will then go out to eat for dinner or lunches on the weekend. This saves a ton of money as I don't spend any money on coffees or eating out often, which brings my groceries to around £35 to £50 a week, so it could be as low as £140 a month or £200 at max. When it comes to eating out, I may eat out around 2 to 3 times a week or even a bit more, with most meals costing around £15 to £20 and may have a drink or two a meal, which if you count a standard pint is around £7. So in total for a week, you're looking at roughly £81 a week on eating out, so £324 a month, which is definitely not saying that I would get up to that much every time, but it is easy, especially if you drink more. In terms of entertainment, that may set you back around £60 or more a month, with my expenses usually going towards cheap theatre tickets, which can be as cheap as £23 to £35 if you look on websites like Today Tix, or on other certain events such as music or concerts, as there is plenty of that going around in this city as well. So the best way to get around London is the extensive and great tube network. Your typical zone 1 to 3 would generally cost around £2.8 to £3.4 per one way, depending on if you're traveling at peak times or not. For a normal week of commute to work plus weekend exploring, I'm roughly spending around £56 a week on transport. To save money in this respect, getting a bike would be great if you're confident in riding a bike around the city and are okay with risking your bike being stolen, because that does happen quite a lot here. With other expenses, such as a gym membership, I've signed up to a local leisure centre, which includes a pool and a gym that costs around £21 a month, which is pretty cheap for what you get, pretty comparable to back home. My phone bill costs around £10 a month for 20 gigabytes with Lebara, which also offers roaming in the EU with that same data, which is a pretty good deal as well. My referral link is down below if that interests you. So to wrap up the cost for the month on average, you were looking at rent, £900, bills, £150, groceries, £50, dining out, £324, entertainment, £60, transport, £56, and gym, £21, phone bill, £10. So around £1,581 a month. It seems like a lot. So realistically, in order to be able to live comfortably, save enough money to be able to go and travel, you are looking at earning at least double that, so £3,000 a month, which in my current situation, I am earning around £750 a week post-tax, which will bring me into that threshold. Once again, this is just a rough guide. It is not definitive, but it is a rough guide. So, what are some of my tips for making this big financial move a little bit easier? It's important to have a buffer. Can't stress that enough. Especially for the start of your move here, you'll need to take in the possibility of not having a job or place to live for the first few weeks or even up to 2 months. Ensuring that you have enough money for that possibility is absolutely critical. Using cheaper accommodations with Airbnb, couch surfing, or even staying in hostels may need to be considered unless you are lucky and can organize a short-term rental prior to arriving on spare room or roomies. Second tip, I personally use YNAB, yneedabudget.com, to track all of my spending once a month, where you can even link your bank details so your transactions instantly show up on the app or website. This allows you to track, budget, review what you have spent over the last month, what you need to spend for the next month, as well as review what you have spent on in general to see any patterns and trends. It's an incredibly detailed software that makes me feel more at ease knowing how much money I have to my name, where it all is, and where it's all going. I've also linked a referral link down below if you would like to check it out. Thirdly, and this is a no-brainer to saving money, is just converting everything to Australian dollars in my head. If I wanted to buy something, I remind myself how much that would cost in Australian dollars and would be less inclined to buy it quite easily. As I've mentioned before, this is just a rough guideline and there are definitely ways to keep the cost down to save more money in order to survive and be able to travel, such as sharing a place with more people, not eating out as often. At the end of the day, it is just up to you and what you value is worth your money. In terms of travel as well, amongst all of this spending, I find that traveling once a month is maybe a bit too much from my experience. It's just because I'm just having travel fatigue more than anything. So making sure that you just do like little trips here and there, maybe weekend trips, will allow you to experience what you want to experience in terms of travel whilst also not spending too much. And obviously there are ways to travel cheap as well, so it is up to you to kind of factor all those things into consideration. I hope this helps with your decision if you are thinking on the big move to London. And I can guarantee you that it may be expensive, but it is damn worth it and you won't regret it. If you like what you see, I've got more content coming, so like and subscribe, check out my socials below, check out my referral links, and until next time, I'll see you later.